The Devil. Unmasking Pazuzu Algarad's Reign of Terror. The stench of decay lingered long after the headlines faded. Pazuzu Algarad, a name synonymous with depravity, left an indelible stain on Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But behind the sensationalism lies a chilling tale of societal neglect and the dark allure of the abyss. Give a like and subscribe, leave a comment. Viceland's The Devil You Know isn't just another true crime documentary. It's a disturbing exploration of how a troubled individual, John Lawson, transformed into the self-proclaimed devil, Pazuzu Algarad, and the community that unwittingly enabled his reign of terror. The documentary meticulously dissects the socio-political landscape that allowed Algarad to cultivate his influence, culminating in the brutal murders of at least 2 men. Algarad wasn't a lone wolf. He was a twisted shepherd, leading a flock of punks, outcasts, and the disenfranchised. His home became a haven for chaos, a breeding ground for depravity that ultimately spilled out into the unsuspecting streets of Winston-Salem. The documentary forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own capacity for indifference and the consequences of ignoring the warning signs. Born John Lawson on August 12, 1978, in San Francisco, California, Algarad's early life remains shrouded in conflicting accounts. He was a master of reinvention, crafting different narratives for different audiences, obscuring the truth of his past. But beneath the fabricated stories, a disturbing pattern began to emerge. Early signs of mental illness manifested in disturbing ways, harming animals, experimenting with drugs, and exhibiting increasingly erratic behavior. His mother, Cynthia James, remembers a troubled child, plagued by mental problems, but not inherently evil. Diagnosed with agoraphobia, schizophrenia, and psychosis, Lawson's mental state continued to deteriorate. Relocating to Winston-Salem with his mother, Lawson underwent a radical transformation. In 2002, he adopted the moniker Pazuzu, after the ancient demon king, a deliberate act of defiance and self-proclaimed damnation. He cultivated a terrifying persona, complete with filed teeth, grotesque face tattoos, and outlandish claims of animal sacrifice and weather manipulation. He became Winston-Salem's Manson-esque icon of depravity, a symbol of rebellion against the conservative, post-9/11 community. He embraced Luciferian and Islamic elements, a twisted cocktail of ideologies designed to shock and intimidate. But beneath the surface of the self-proclaimed devil lurked a deeply disturbed individual crying out for help. Algarad's dilapidated home became a magnet for the lost and the broken, a haven for working-class, working-poor, disenfranchised people seeking solace in the fringes of society. Some saw him as a leader, a guru of the damned, while others were simply drawn to the chaos and the promise of acceptance, however twisted. Former friend Nate Anderson described Algarad as possessing a twisted charisma, a magnetic pull that drew people into his orbit. The house itself was a reflection of its master, lawless, chaotic, and unspeakably filthy, a breeding ground for promiscuity and despair. Drug use was rampant, self-harm was commonplace, and rumors of unspeakable acts circulated like whispers in the dark. Townspeople, gripped by fear and a desire to avoid confrontation, largely tolerated the aberrant presence. Rumors of bodies buried in the backyard persisted, fueling the atmosphere of dread. Bianca Heath, a former acquaintance, claimed to have overheard Algarad discussing killings and even cannibalism, chilling accounts that hinted at the horrors to come. The first known killing is believed to have occurred after June 1, 2009, a turning point that plunged Algarad and his followers into a vortex of violence. Amber Birch and Crystal Matlock, 2 members of Algarad's inner circle, allegedly assisted in the disposal of the victim's body, becoming complicit in his descent into depravity. Birch is believed to have committed a second murder in October 2009, further solidifying the group's descent into darkness. Algarad allegedly helped bury the second victim, cementing his role as the orchestrator of these heinous acts. The law finally caught up with Algarad in 2010, resulting in convictions as an accessory after the fact in the death of Joseph Chandler and for misdemeanor assault of his mother. The true extent of Algarad's depravity remained hidden until 2014, when the skeletal remains of Joshua Wetzler and Tommy Welch were discovered buried in his backyard. Both victims had been shot to death, their lives brutally extinguished. The property was littered with animal corpses and adorned with satanic graffiti, a macabre tableau of death and desecration. Algarad, Birch, and Matlock were arrested, their reign of terror finally brought to an end. The house, a symbol of decay and depravity, was condemned, its secrets finally exposed to the light. But the scars left on the community of Winston-Salem would take far longer to heal. News of the killings ignited a media frenzy, transforming Algarad into a national spectacle. But in the rush to sensationalize the story, crucial facts were often lost or distorted, replaced by lurid details designed to titillate and shock. Some outlets branded Algarad's group a sex cult, a gross misrepresentation that fueled the public's fascination with the macabre. The media leaned heavily into the themes of sex and violence, exploiting the sensational aspects of the story to sell newspapers and boost ratings. Systemic misogyny and the disregard for the plight of the poor and disenfranchised were largely overlooked, overshadowed by the focus on Algarad's shocking appearance and alleged satanic practices. The true story, the story of societal neglect and the failure to protect vulnerable individuals, was buried beneath a mountain of sensationalism. The media's portrayal of Algarad as a Satan worshipper sparked a wave of fear and misinformation, perpetuating harmful stereotypes about Satanism. Actual Satanists, however, were quick to distance themselves from Algarad's actions, condemning his violence and emphasizing the core tenets of their philosophy. Liz Bradley, a prominent voice in the satanic community, emphasized the importance of empathy, justice, knowledge, and science. She clarified that real Satanists do not believe in a literal Satan, but rather use the figure as a metaphor for rebellion and self-empowerment. They value bodily autonomy, critical thinking, and kindness, principles that stand in stark contrast to Algarad's depraved actions. Algarad died by apparent suicide in jail on October 28, 2015, bringing an abrupt end to his story. But the circumstances surrounding his death remain shrouded in mystery, fueling speculation and conspiracy theories. Police withheld information from the public, further contributing to the atmosphere of suspicion. Some people doubt that Algarad took his own life, suggesting that he may have been silenced to prevent him from revealing further details about his crimes or the involvement of others. Gillespie, the director of The Devil You Know, refuses to condemn Algarad as inherently evil, believing in the capacity for goodness in all people. She argues that the true tragedy lies in the community's failure to create a supportive environment for Algarad and others like him. The community should have intervened earlier, held the police accountable, and provided the resources necessary to address Algarad's mental health issues. His story serves as a chilling reminder of the consequences of neglect and the importance of compassion. The story of Pazuzu Algarad is a cautionary tale, a disturbing glimpse into the darkness that can fester when society turns a blind eye to the suffering of its most vulnerable members. It's a story that demands we confront uncomfortable truths about our own capacity for indifference and the urgent need to create a more just and compassionate world. If you found this video disturbing and thought-provoking, please like and share it to spark a conversation about mental health, societal neglect, and the dangers of sensationalism. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth explorations of true crime and its impact on society. Leave a comment below sharing your thoughts on the Pazuzu Algarad case and what lessons we can learn from this tragedy. Let's work together to create a world where such horrors are never repeated.